Hey, how's everybody doing today? And welcome to the next episode of Coffee Talk with Brohawk. And today I have a really cool guest with me today, Shmuel Saklad. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Did perfect.
Yes, yes, bonus points for today. Um, Shmuel, thank you very much for being a guest on today's episode. And let's go ahead and start off by if you can tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and what have you been up to these days?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to get to, you know, get around and just chat with people, have great conversations. So yeah, just quickly about me. I am at B&H Photo. I'm one of the senior managers in the enterprise accounts department. We are an inbound B2B contact center. So we're, not working with retail customers. We're working with corporations, schools, governments, really any entity, large and small. And we're really helping them along their technology procurement journey, whether that's, pre-order, they need quote information, they need the actual order processing part, all the post-order customer service, that we love to live in, all of that stuff. I've been here for about 12 years, so
Mhm.
in 12 years, you name it, I may have seen it. I may have seen some
Yes.
wild things that have happened over the years. When you customer calls and you're like, "Are you sure that happened?" Things just happen, weird things happen. But yeah, anyway, so we're here to support them, give them a great experience, think about how we can continue to support them, building relationships. We say, obviously, interactions are important, right? The transactions are important.
Uh-huh.
You need to get those right and make sure you do those correctly, but the interactions are way more important, right? How did you
Yes.
interact with them? How did you speak to them? How did you send an email? What was the email communication like? People, people know, like, how you treat someone, the feeling they walk away with is
Hmm.
that's what you remember. You don't remember necessarily the person you spoke to, you just or what the actual, you know, operation was like, but you remember
Yeah.
the feeling that you left with. So something I always try to talk to my team about of, think about a company that gives you a good feeling. Why?
Hmm.
What was it about that experience? And how do we emulate that? And how do we incorporate that, into our day-to-day processing? Um, so I've had a great journey here. Started as an agent on the phones, one of those people who never thought they would be a career contact center person. Um, came here and because I needed a job and I found, they were welcomed me in, and 12 years later, I am still here, loving it. So you never know how things are going to go, and just being open to experiences and growth has really been great for me. And
I,
yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say that's awesome. I don't think anybody ever, I don't know anybody that's gone to school to be to work in a contact
it's
center.
like, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, so it's
Um,
like always funny. Like you talk to people and they're like, "Yeah, I needed something, got a job. I
uh-huh.
started doing this in the summer, and then next thing you know, it's you know team leader, supervisor, manager, and then here you are."
Yeah. It's an amazing journey. The in the industry that you're in, um, I mean, talk about technological changes over the last 12 years. I mean, you've pretty much seen it all.
Yeah.
Um, what are some things, and I'm going totally chasing a purple squirrel here. So what are some things that were like the hot technologies maybe 10 years ago that
Oh
aren't even
gosh.
talking about today?
What's crazy to say is that when I started, we were using paper.
Uh-huh.
Like orders were faxed in and came in paper.
Yeah.
Um, there's no paper now. Like
Yeah.
actually, some people still do mail in purchase orders, but
Uh-huh.
but yeah, that's not happening anymore. Like we were like trying to get people to use the fax, right? Like
Uh-huh.
we would get a lot of mail, right? And
Yep.
now we're trying to get people to use fax or email, and now it's like nobody's using fax anymore.
It's all an app now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, you send it, well, you obviously email, but like where you share it. You share it as a Drive or a Google Doc. You do this. It's like there's so many things that we do differently.
Hmm.
Um, that it is kind of funny.
Yeah. The evolution of work is just something, as a history guy myself, just how things evolve over time and what the triggering events are. You know, I mean, when we look at the contact center world, I mean, 30 plus years ago when I started,
Yeah.
35 years ago, IVRs were going to take over the industry and no humans were ever going to have to work in a contact center. And we see how that's worked out for all of
Yeah,
us.
and we're hearing a lot of that today again.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, AI is going to take over. Yeah. That's a whole other episode that we could go down.
We could.
That would be amazing. Um, well, let's kind of dive into things here, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, please.
So, B&H Photo, it's a Jewish owned business in New York. So you guys are closed Saturdays and for all the Jewish holidays. That represents a very values driven um, operating environment
Yeah,
as compared to, well, you're going to get so many more, you may get so many more sales on Saturday, but you
right.
still close out. It's not as much about the metrics, but it's more about the values first.
Hmm.
um, um, how is it working in that type of environment? And is it because it works in New York, versus potentially in, I don't know, Ohio?
Right.
Uh,
Um, yeah, it's interesting. I will say it is very unique, right? Like you do not really see companies, by the way, we're not just the offices aren't just closed. Like, yeah, like you said, the website is closed. You cannot
mhm.
make a purchase on Saturday, right, on the Jewish Sabbath. So it's really unique and really interesting. But I will say what I like about it is that it really does show the values of the company.
Mhm.
And they are very value driven and shows up in many ways. It certainly shows up when we talk about customers and what customer experience should look like.
Mhm.
The talk is it's customer,
Yeah.
customer, right? Like, is this better for the customer? Is this change
Mhm.
actually gonna help the customer, or is this
Yeah.
gonna make a buck, right? Like, you don't really see that type of value and values first leadership and vision. Um, and it shows, and something that I believe has really led to the success of the company is customers do see that and they understand it and they appreciate that they know that they're getting just genuine service and help. Look, everyone in the company is commission free. There is no commission. So
Mhm.
it's really about, you know, is whatever the best equipment or purchase for the customer. And that is what we're going to push.
Yeah.
Um, Not trying to upsell or make a buck off of it. So it is definitely, I appreciate that. It shows a lot. It demonstrates what's important to the company, and that really does trickle down to everybody. And it's nice to be able to talk to your people and your employees and say, no, this is what we do because you know that's the right thing to do for the customer, and that's why we're doing it.
The
But
authenticity
yeah,
is gold,
yeah.
you know.
And I think it's like you're asking about does it work because it's here. We do. We service customers all across the country and even internationally. And
Uh-huh.
we definitely have customers who are like, I tried contacting you and you were closed again. It's like,
Uh-huh.
no, but we do get a lot of customers that say, I appreciate you that you're values driven. Okay, yes, is it inconvenient sometimes? Sure, but customers appreciate that we have values that we stand by and that we hold very, very dear to us.
Mhm. I absolutely love that. The um, you don't well, I don't want to say you don't see that in organizations, 'cause I think every organization has a different set of values that
Yeah.
guide them. But for it to get all the way down um, to how you pay people,
Hmm.
non-commission driven. Um, and you can actually demonstrate how leadership should look.
Yeah.
Um, leadership by example. Make the customer um, feel like they're having an authentic conversation.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
Yeah, and
and
it's really like, there are definitely times where in consumer it's much more about product, we're much more about relationships with the B2B customers. But there are definitely times where, we're speaking to someone about a product and they're like, you really don't need that level high-end, camera, right? Like you really could do what you want to do with a middle of the road or a lower end version of it. And it's really just demonstrating that I am just here to make you, do what you want to do and make sure that you walk out the door happy.
yes, because in 2 months when you need something different, we're going to be
Yeah.
here, and you're going to remember what your experience, like you said before, how we made you feel
Yeah.
in making that transaction. Previously, you're going to want to come back and purchase from us. I love that.
Absolutely.
So your reputation at B&H, and again, this isn't a commercial on B&H Photo and why you need to shop at B&H Photo, but if it works that way, that's cool too.
Yeah.
uh, I'm always about helping other businesses.
Yeah.
But you guys have the customer service reputation. It's built on expertise of
Yeah.
the products that you're selling. How do you develop and lead that workforce where an agent often knows more about a product than the customer? And how does that change, coaching philosophy, hiring philosophy? How do you measure that on a continual basis?
Yeah. So, we're very focused making sure that as a company we have experts that really know the product that we're selling.
Hmm.
Something that is right, like you're saying, of something that we really pride ourselves on, a value proposition that we have.
Hmm.
And so you come with that, right? That's something you're looking for, but it's only half the package, right? You
Hmm.
also need to know how do I speak to somebody about it? How do I convert? I can know all the tech and I can be able to speak tech speak, right? But if you can't convey that and communicate that down to someone who may not have that level of detail and knowledge, then it's
Hmm.
not, it's not as helpful. You're not really going to be able to really accomplish what you want to accomplish. So it's like, okay, you know, and so you have to do some of these coaching exercises where it's like, okay, and I'll say this also plays into not just product, but really policies, processes, right?
Hmm.
Like where you have an employee might say, oh, why doesn't the customer know that they have to do X, right? Like, how do they not know they need to send us a purchase order to make an order? And it's like, well, this is your job. It's not their job,
Exactly.
you know?
We know our processes and policies. They don't,
Yeah, of
especially
course.
first-time customers.
Yeah, right. So it's like trying to make sure you remind people of that and reminding like why we're here and why they're here. We are here to make them feel like they were the most important customer of the day, right? And how do you do that? And the language that you use and the way you speak to them, that's what's important. Yes, obviously you need to give them correct information and
Hmm.
all of that, that piece, but the package and the way that it's done is way more important and valuable, right?
Yeah.
Like if you speak to somebody and they're asking a simple question about a camera and you make
Hmm.
them feel like an idiot, they're not
Yep.
going to come back. Like, yes, thank you that you know the product, but you didn't make them feel valued.
Yes.
And that goes with, yeah, obviously product, but it goes like I was saying about policies and processes and you know making them feel like I've got it. You just do this, I will take care of you, right? Like making them feel like they're in good hands and they're going to be taken care of, and supported. Um, that's really what we're here for, right? Like that's why we exist to make people feel, customers feel important and that they're giving us value.
So, as far as like a hiring strategy, I want to kind of, drill down on this one a little bit. As far as a hiring strategy, you're probably, hiring people that enjoy, and I'll use, I have a young daughter. I'll use a Moana term.
Mm.
Um, you're probably looking for somebody who enjoys wayfinding. Um, Helping somebody navigate the
Yeah,
journey of buying their first camera or upgrading from a beginner's camera,
yeah,
or tech to something that's like next step, and then continue to evolve. You want that customer for life. So does the experience that you want to bring to the forefront emanate all the way down, or gravitate all the way down to just who it is that you're looking to bring into the organization?
yeah, definitely, right? Like obviously, in retail, they're it's m way more about the product. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, they're focused on the experience, right, and service for sure. But there is a much bigger emphasis on product because they are the product experts.
Mhm.
Um, for us, it's really about, do you enjoy working with customers,
Yeah.
right? Like, do you actually want to help people? And we talk about like we like went through different rounds of like, what should our hiring strategy be, right? Should it be, well, we're a contact center, should we be looking for contact center people, right? People that have worked in contact centers for 10, 15 years. And that's an approach, right? And it's a strategy. Um, but what we found also is that it's not just about the experience someone has, it's really
Mhm.
about who they are as a person, and really what qualities they have, not necessarily their experience. So one
Mhm.
example is a little while ago we hired somebody who worked for a few years at Trader Joe's, right? And it was like, I don't know, this is in store, it's different, and are they
Mhm.
going to be able to do this role? And like, to me it was like, if you're working at Trader Joe's for 5 years, you love helping people.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
anyone who's gone there, like they are love helping you. So
Uh-huh.
to me, it's like, okay, do I think this person can learn it and do it? Okay, that's really my question, because it's not about whether they're going to like being on the phones and supporting a customer. And they're thriving, right? They're one of my best people. Um, so I think it is really important what you think about and what you focus on. And it is, I'll say it's important to know what you're looking for and make sure that it's really going to drive the value and the message that you want.
Excellent. I love that. So you and we both wound up on the ICMI top 25 thought leader
Yes.
list for this year. High
Shocking
five.
for me.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. I was like, I pick up my phone and I'm like, oh,
What
this is
happened?
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I the you're coming at your thought leadership as an ops person today. Um, where myself and others that were on that list were are consultants, or um, um, thought leaders just in general,
Mhm.
in the CX space. um, what are some things that you see clearly from inside of being inside one company for 10 plus years, that I'd never see from the outside? So think of it like, when you go to see a play,
Mm.
everything looks perfect.
Yeah.
Um, but all the actors and each director, they're like, oh no, this did not work out well. This is a horrible performance. So
Right.
as an operator, what are some things that you tend to key on, may not be visible to the outside eye?
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting point. And exactly like you're saying, like you can like listen to a symphony and you'd be like, oh
Uh,
my God, it was beautiful. And it's like, what do you mean? You didn't hear all the mistakes I made? And you're like, I don't know, it seemed great to me. Um, so I think, what's really important, and you tell me if this is going the right direction that you're looking for, but what to me is important is that everyone knows the play that you're running. right? Like if you want that championship team, it's not just the number one draft pick, right? Like how many years have we seen number one picks and their teams bust, right? Like
Hmm.
it's not just the talent, it's what you do with it. As a fellow New England sports fan, um, we've seen some amazing things that were able to be done. Look at the Patriots with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, and yes, Tom Brady obviously had an amazing talent, but
Uh-huh.
he was not just a one man show, certainly not in the
Exactly.
beginning. And but everybody knew what they needed to do. They needed to know where they needed to be, exactly when they needed to be there. You
Hmm.
have that trust with each other that, all right, I know I don't have to look. I know he's going to be there. Um, and you take the coaching, you take the feedback, you implement it, and you're not going to, it's not perfect, right? You're not going to have always that perfect season,
Hmm.
but what do you do about it, and how do you move forward? And yeah, things, sometimes you fumble, but
Yeah.
you try to pick it up and keep moving down the field, and hope to get the touchdown and get that Super Bowl in the end.
I as a New England guy, we've had we've had our years of heartbreak. Wait till
Yeah.
next year on
Yeah.
so many things, and it comes down to execution, though.
Yes.
Flawless execution, but what may look flawless to you and I as outsiders,
Right.
is going to look extremely flawed. I,
Totally.
I look at the movie Moneyball, you
Yeah.
and just how the explanation of what a flawless player versus a flawed player looks like, um, and it's just fascinating how
Yeah.
with different lenses that you can put on, um, that you can see things differently.
Yeah, and there's always, you can always improve, and I think as you get better, right, that
Uh-huh.
that lens that magnifies, right? Like,
Mhm.
okay, when you're struggling or you're bad, okay, you're just trying to get a win. I don't care what we do, we got to get a
Yes.
win, right? And then as the operation starts improving, your magnifier, increases, where it's like, all right, we're doing like A, B, C, D, perfect. Right now it's EFG. We got to
Hmm.
keep working, keep executing. And I think what's also really important is are you a team or are you individuals?
Yep.
And it's really like that team mentality of we know we can trust each other. You trust your operators, you trust people in other departments. Like you have that level of confidence. You don't need
Hmm.
to be perfect. You just need to know that I can trust you that you're going to get your part done also.
Yes. So I know you post a lot about leadership on LinkedIn, and um, but it's not just about posting about theory; it's how you actually operate.
Hmm?
And one of the things that I've seen you post out a lot about are your playbooks.
Mm,
Um, so talk to me a little bit about what the thought process was about developing those playbooks,
yeah.
early on, and then how has it evolved into your philosophy?
Yeah. You know, for me, I looked at it as when I became a leader, what
Hmm.
support or coaching did I have? And I'm not saying it was not nothing. It was just it's not the way,
Hmm.
as maybe I was developed or as what I would have, looking back, may would have made sense where it's like,
Hmm.
you move into this supervisor role and you're like, okay, now I got this dashboards, I have the thing, I have this queue, that queue, and it's like there's so much to look at. I got reports, and it's like, well, what was that onboarding like? And how could I give a better experience to my own people? So thinking about that, it was like, all right, so I find that the beginning journey, like when you like onboarding in general, super critical, right? When an employee first starts a company, their onboarding is really impactful to their success and their longevity at a company.
Hmm.
And the same as when you move into any role in a company, or you get, you transfer, or you get promoted. how that operation and that process transition looks is important. So for me, it was like, all right, what can I do and develop and give to the,
Hmm.
so taking my experience and my own experience and my experience working with people transitioning to this first, their first manager role,
Yeah.
and how do I, make that into something tangible where you can walk away and say, okay, I can do this. Yeah, obviously you need support, right? It's not all easy, but I can do this. So that was like kind of my vision for why I kind of started there, like the 30-day new leader guide. Um, and working on that and saying, okay, what can I give to my people that will really help them and just kind of start that process.
I love that. I love that because, a lot of folks, especially in smaller contact centers, it's like, hey, you were an amazing rep. Guess what? You're now a manager and you have all these people reporting to you. Go forth
Yeah.
and do great things.
Yeah.
Um,
And
you know,
and so many times that doesn't work.
yeah,
Right? The great operators are not necessarily the great leaders.
yes.
And it's goes back to what are the skills and qualities that define success in your role.
Hmm.
That's what you really are looking for. I don't necessarily want the best operator, right?
Yeah,
In the frontline role, you're a great operator, that's great. That does not mean you're a great leader.
yep.
And you may be better suited in a individual contributor role. So it's I think it really goes back to, for me, things that are really important are structure, operations, clarity, expectations, right? Like what am I really looking for? Am I looking for the right skills that are going to set up success? Okay, well, make sure I'm actually following that. I'm actually looking for that. Okay, then
Hmm.
I need to be communicative to this person about those expectations and give them the feedback that they need, and balance that with accountability. And that really, to me, it's that this duality of I really need a strong, the operations need to be, tight. It needs to be, you need to know what you're doing. You need to know how you're doing it. But the human element is critical too.
Yes.
And it's how you help somebody and how you support them. And, you tell someone, okay, by the way, I think this is really great, but, I would have added in this little piece next time, or, I can help coach you to think about this differently, or, um, yeah, so to me, like that's like those that big duality of leadership to me is that you- operations, clarity, expectations, but it has to come with those human elements.
I've always viewed, and tell me what you think about this. Leadership is about the human side
Hmm.
of running an operation, whereas a manager is about the number side, the results
Yeah,
side. Um,
definitely.
you know, the one thing you shared there was about accountability,
Hmm.
um, and some people hear the word accountability and they're like, "Well, that's
Ugh.
punitive." You know,
Right.
I get the sense you don't view accountability as always punitive. How do you
To
view that?
me, I think accountability is kindness.
You know?
Like to me, it's not, or yes, people do have that aversion to hearing that word.
Yeah.
But to me, true kindness is telling somebody how they're doing and
Hmm.
giving them an expectation and making sure that they stick to it.
Hmm.
It's not just punitive in the sense of like, oh, you did a terrible job. I'm going to yell at you and tell you how terrible you are. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously that's not the right accountability that we're talking about.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's hey, we here's this project. Um, let's check in 2 weeks, and see where you're up to. And then, I would expect you, even in the beginning, I would say, I expect you to be up to, in this type of area. Um, and then checking in and saying, okay, well, how are we doing? Where are you up to? Great, this is great. How can I support you to now getting over to the second half? Or
Yes.
if you've only done some, okay, I appreciate, you're working on this. I appreciate your effort. What can we do to, or how can I help you, get back on track and help move
Hmm.
you forward? And to me, like that's kindness. And I also, this is something that I think people don't necessarily think about. Also, what's kindness is also telling somebody this isn't working, right? Like
Hmm.
having to have a tough conversation is not unkind. It's
Yes.
I'm going to be honest with you and say this isn't working. Like I want your success. I want you to be successful. And nobody likes being in a role that they feel that they're not being successful.
Yes. It's uncomfortable,
Oh, totally.
you know.
Totally. But
Yeah.
it's doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's not kind.
Yep.
And I think it's like a big, like shock to some people to hear that.
In accountability, in the spirit of kindness, you have to have some mutual accountability.
Yeah.
So if I'm not meeting as a manager, if I'm not meeting your expectations, help me understand, where I'm missing the mark for you. Is it communication style? Is it, whatever? How can we go ahead and kind of bridge that gap for each other?
Hmm.
Sometimes new employees, they struggle with that because they're like, yeah, this isn't real. Th-
Totally.
th- yeah, but as you work with them and you develop that trusting relationship,
Yeah.
with them, I get the sense that they're able to come out of their shell, so to speak, and really, I don't want to say live trust, but you know, live a certain level of mutual accountability.
Yeah, totally. And exactly like you said, it really comes down to trust,
Hmm.
where it's like, what are you doing to demonstrate that somebody brings you something that you're gonna say thank you and I'm
Hmm.
gonna fix it, right? Like it's
Yep.
not like well if you get defensive about it, like that's the first thing you do,
Hmm.
they're not gonna tell it to you again. Like there's
Yes.
just no way. So it's really important, really
Yes.
hard, but really important. Stop yourself and just say, thank you for saying that. And we're gonna fix it. I don't know. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make sure I check my email at the end of the day, whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
And it's also I find sometimes leading with, hey, I know I didn't get back to you as quickly as you wanted, or as maybe you would have expected. So like when you start with your own admission of fault, then it's
Hmm.
like it's easier for someone to say, yeah, I think, thank you, I appreciate that, to like agree with you versus directly challenging you.
Yes. And ask their permission. Hey,
Yeah,
I know I wasn't timely in my feedback to you. Is now a good time to communicate
yeah,
to have this conversation,
yeah.
as a strategy. And then the other strategy, and I'm use this, I have to use it all the time, is um what were you think, it is a difference between what were you thinking and help me understand your thought process here.
Exactly, exactly.
You know, um, you're still trying to get the same information as a leader, but how it's stated and how the tone
Yeah.
is, will usually elicit different results.
Totally. Right. And sometimes I even say like I'm not trying to challenge you. I'm not
Yeah.
questioning. I really want to understand the context so I can,
Hmm.
be able to give you the best feedback. Right. So it's
Yep.
like even being more clear sometimes of like this is not this is really not a challenge. I really just want to help and I really just want to understand. Very
And maybe
different.
there's something I can, yeah, and maybe there's something I can learn about a process that's
Yeah.
broken. ABL, always be learning. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, but it's
but
you're right, like very different to be like, oh my God, what are you thinking?
yeah,
You know,
Hey, you know,
I don't know.
and with certain people, you can come out, that forward,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
them, but it takes a lot of trust capital that's built up between the two of you.
for sure.
Um, you know, we're getting towards the end here, but couple of final questions. As someone that and I don't think I shared this question with you,
Mm.
previously, but so I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. Trying not to throw too many curveballs at you.
All good.
So, what's a leadership um practice that um or what's a leadership thought that you would disagree with?
Ooh, okay. Um, Love that question, by the way.
Hmm.
Um, I would say potentially, and tell me what you think about this. So I kind of said it earlier, and it's something like I've been really thinking about and developing over the last couple of weeks,
Hmm.
is that idea of like, to me, real success is the strong operations with the human element combined. Like to me, if you're just strong in operations
Hmm.
and, you can get success, sure. Like, you may have very fast response time and you may be thorough and you may, get orders out the door quickly, but for how long? And how long is it going to take before that culture and that engagement breaks down? Right.
Hmm.
And the reverse is true of like, okay, if let's say I'm all warm and fluffy and be like, well, yeah, whatever you want, whatever makes you feel good,
Uh-huh.
you're not going to
That
be very successful
you gotta
very
have that
long.
balance.
Right. But I do think that I think somewhat unique, and I think some people might, sometimes you like a lot of content you may see is very people first, people first, people first.
Hmm.
Sure, but where's the balance? Where's the other
Yeah.
side of the seesaw? Um, so I think it is like maybe it's a little bit of a pushback of like a very people first mindset, and I am a very people first mindset,
Hmm.
but that's not the end. That's not it. That's not the end game, right?
Yeah.
Like you also have to have accountability. You also have to have expectations and processes and policies. Like it's just, you're not gonna find real meaningful success. And it's interesting to me. It plays into more than just what we do at work. It's who we are as people, right? Like as a
Hmm.
friend, if I was all, yeah, cool, whatever, and like didn't show up for you when you needed a ride, well, that
Yes.
I didn't follow the process, right? Like I didn't follow the plan.
Uh-huh.
That's You're not going to be friends for very long.
Exactly.
So it's like I find that this, duality really permeates throughout life.
Uh-huh.
Um, so it's really something I've been um, thinking about over the last few weeks and really just marinating on
Yep.
um, and developing. But I do think it's a little unique in some ways.
I love that. I love that. As you're going through it, you know, as we get to continue to know each other,
Hmm.
over the years, one thing you'll find about me is different things will pop into my head based on what people say.
Hmm.
And you were talking about, the friend relationship, and
Yeah.
what popped into my head was Big Bang Theory and Sheldon Cooper's roommate agreement. And
Okay.
right
Yeah.
here on page, it says you have to drive me to, so that's what pops into my head.
Right.
So,
But it's true,
Hey,
right? Like
yes,
that's a tight process and whatever, but like I wouldn't
exactly.
feel good about that.
Exactly. And I probably wouldn't sign it. Um, so, few final questions. So, as someone who's had a very successful career, you've been with B&H for a number of years, and you've grown up in the contact center there. Um, I'm particularly interested in hearing your thoughts about this. At this stage in my career, I wish I can go back in time and tell my younger self
Hmm.
blank. And how would that have helped you navigate your career thus far differently?
Um, yeah, I would say it would either be patience
Uh-huh.
or stronger communication. I think, sometimes we think we're clear, but we're not super clear.
Hmm.
So it's something like for me, I've really been worked on a lot over the years, where it's like, I thought I was clear. And then you're like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I wasn't, right? And like strong, clear communication is obviously something really important as a leader,
Yep.
and it would really help you, move your career and move you, further on the road. So it's definitely something I would say I would have told myself looking back to work on sooner or take another look. Maybe you weren't as clear as you thought you were.
Over communicate versus under communicate and assuming.
Yes, totally.
Love it. Love it. All right. We're in the speed round. You ready for
Okay.
this?
Yeah.
All right. So if you were listening to this recording, what are the three takeaways from today's conversation that you would want people to remember?
Okay. Three takeaways I would say is support your people,
Yep.
but remember that you also need to hold them accountable, and that idea of like um, you know, accountability is not unkind,
Yep.
right? Let's say two, remember think about what feeling you want your customers walking away with. Um, three, also have a good time also. You know,
Love that.
it's also like, yes, you're here to work, you're here for a purpose, but it's also okay to enjoy what you do and have a good time and enjoy the people that you're with.
Love that. Yeah, there was an exercise we used to do at a place that I worked at many, many, many years ago. Um, and it was okay, name your customers.
Hmm.
Okay. And everybody would talk about, all the external pieces. They would forget about their internal
Yeah,
customers, the people that they work with, the departments that they support, and then
totally.
support them. And
Every every role in a company has a customer.
yep.
Like we talk like our internal support team, right? Like our,
Hmm.
internal tech team, they're like, you are our customer. The employees are my customer,
Yes.
right? Everyone has a customer.
100%. Love
Yeah,
that.
agreed.
So, not that working in New York or working in a contact center would ever be stressful, but if you do have a stressful day, um, what is your go-to unwind or decompress tactic
Okay.
at the end of the day?
I'm curious if you think this is going to be wild for you to hear. Okay, so spring summer is my garden time. So
Uh-huh.
I literally just this past weekend we planted all of our planting. I will say
Okay.
my kids were really excited to pick out the plants from Home Depot. They were much less excited to help me plant them.
Yes.
They I think I got about 10 minutes before everybody disappeared on me.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I'll say honestly, watering my plants at the end of the day, sitting there, standing there, just enjoying the weather, taking a minute.
Yes.
Um, Otherwise, if I'm indoors, I love a good fantasy novel. I love
Okay.
that escape, you know, like just think about you're somewhere else. I love that as well.
Love that. And I totally get the plant thing. My wife is has turned our house into a terrarium, or so it seems. And I say that with all the love and compassion for my wife.
Yeah,
I get how relaxing and how soothing it is,
yeah, it's
uh,
fun.
for sure. So, what is one fact about Shmuel that people would be surprised to learn about you?
Oh, I have a good one.
Okay.
For a year and a half, I was a volunteer chaplain in a correctional facility.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not have seen that coming.
Yeah,
Man.
so it's was a great experience.
Uh-huh.
Um, very interesting. A lot of interesting stories for sure. But it's also I found that it was also really helpful. You really see people at, maybe their lowest in their lives.
Hmm.
Um, but I also heard some really crazy things of like, going to prison was the best thing that ever happened to me. And to
Yeah.
think that anybody would ever make that statement, it's really just about, you know, thinking about where you are, thinking about what opportunities you have, your choices that you've made that you can make now. So it also gave me a lot of really good perspective and a lot of good, also realizing that a lot of situations are the same, right? Like, what do you need in that situation? You need somebody who's going to show up for you, somebody who's going to support you. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, like leadership.
Yes. Consistency as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it's also really interesting to be able to, tie different parts of my life together.
Love that. I love that. So if someone wants to pick your brain about the work that you do, they have an interest in photography as an example, or they're just really interested in in the business and the work that you do, leadership strategies,
Yeah.
or what conferences or events that you may be attending, how could they go ahead and contact you?
Yeah, best is finding me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Shmuel Saklad. That's honestly the best way to do it. Yeah, I'll be at CCW this year, coming up in June, so you
Awesome.
can catch me on a panel. I'm very excited about that. And
Fantastic.
yeah, I'd love to
And
reach out and love chatting.
are you going to be at ICMI this year too?
That is the plan.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'll buy you an adult beverage down there. How's that?
That sounds good.
Excellent, excellent. Shmuel, thank you very much for being an amazing guest today. This is a great conversation, and I know it's not going to be our last conversation for
Yes.
sure.
Lots.
This is great, very energizing for me.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you, Sam. It's been fun.
And so if you like the content, you're watching this, you like the content, please like and subscribe. As my 8-year-old daughter says, remember, like and subscribe. This is on YouTube. And love to have you follow and comment. And if you have any questions directly for Shmuel, when he says reach out to him on LinkedIn, it's not just words. He will get back to you very quickly, and
Yes.
it's one of the things that one of your qualities that I admire the most
Thank
is
you.
how quickly you respond to people. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you potentially as another guest on Coffee Talk with Brohawk.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking
All
forward.
right. Hey, thank you much.